All right, so hello and welcome to the Week 8 writing workshop. Today I will be giving Jen control of the wheel here, the figurative wheel, for this workshop. But we'll be talking about world docs, so this will be a really good time. We'll be reviewing some conceptual stuff, going over some examples, and making a fun activity in preparation for an even more fun activity next time. So really quick, I'm going to give it off to Jen.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
How are you guys?
I'm good. I have a slight question. Is that next time referring to next Monday?
Yes.
Blast.
Oh.
We don't have classes
Next Monday.
So next time there is a writing workshop, we will be doing a fun activity that relates to the stuff that we are doing today. So first of all, we're going to review kind of basic world building documents and stuff like that. Wait, change all your camera access.
Oh, I got it.
Thank you.
Where do you want to go? Oops, that's the wrong thing.
Yours.
Yeah, okay.
Awesome.
So there's with it going on. Cool.
So here we have a filled out world document. This is for Sword Cat, a game that Riley is working on. So there are all different kind of sections, and it's all like really well organized because Riley is good at organization.
Oh no.
So yeah, he's just kind of scrolling through it right now. So there's like characters that are important that are mentioned, and locations, and at the very top there is the section for the pillars, which are kind of the basic aesthetic elements that everything should be trying to accomplish in the world building.
I'd like to add, if you might have seen it, I have a questions thing up here. That's just for me personally because this is not like my brainchild or my IP. So these are things I wanted to ask my team lead so that I personally knew. A good use of these world documents is to refer to later for consistency's sake if you're working on this for a long period of time. And I would also say there's not like a set format you have to follow here. This is what I like to do, and that is I would definitely suggest having the pillars up front though, to kind of guide everything else you're working on.
So everyone kind of takes notes differently, of course, so as Riley was saying, like this is just kind of one option. So when we're going over character documents later, we do have character documents created by each of us, kind of to show our differences in how.
Anything you wanted me to talk about mine? Yeah, so pillars, some of the good things to include might be a magic system. If you have magic in your game or world or whatever creative sort of story you're trying to tell and you want to sort of quantify that type of thing, how that works, this is a good place to do it. Good things to have are geographic locations. I have a visual reference that is from Warframe in case we ever get to that point. It helps me sort of visualize what I picture. More locations. I have some key characters. In contrast to like where we might like have character documents where we're very closely looking at our characters and what they do. This is more of an overview type of thing. Quick key characters that are relevant to the world, the story that I'm trying to tell here. And yeah, I could probably talk more about this later if you want. If you want to go to a different one, maybe.
Would you guys have any questions about kind of character or world documents or things that are important to include?
We have pillars in the document, but what are other important aspects of a world doc?
So besides pillars, you would also want to include,
I'm just kidding.
you would also want to include sections for like important locations, so like important cities that your characters will be traveling to, or locations that are referenced, or anything of note like that. Like Riley was saying, sections for kind of characters, just really basic overviews of some of the important characters in the game, as well as use examples of like art and things like that, which you can kind of include wherever necessary. Those are always fun.
So some things that I tried to capture in this Word document included like sort of the aesthetics, the culture of the people here. I had this wonderful little thing happen recently where we're trying to figure out like mechanically what are some things that we can include in town, or what are some like how do we disguise a very tall pole that you can jump to as a fast travel type of thing in a desert town. And so I kind of developed this aesthetic that I added to this world doc of like, this town is all about weaving cloth, right? So this is reflected in, hopefully, in the architecture. They'll have like a lot of like hooks and protruding appendages to hang cloth off of. There's like tapestries everywhere. So that's just sort of an element that I want to capture that helps convey the sort of culture of the people. And these are things that you can take note of in your world doc and refer to later. And these things can impact your other work later in terms of like dialogue conventions, like what they talk about, how they sound perhaps, or what they're doing with their day-to-day lives. Good things to just keep in mind.
Yeah, just helpful for kind of like the complete image of the setting. Also, in another example from last quarter, the Space Pirates.
Do you want me to find that?
If you want to, sure. That one, because it had all different groups of people, these different factions of pirates, it kind of covered like short descriptions of each of the factions and kind of what was their thing and what made them different from one another and all of that. Here it is.
So this is an example of another world document that we did as an activity. So you'll see pillars once again. I think that this is a good one. Everyone is Han Solo is one that we came up with. That is a pillar that well captures the attitude, the atmosphere, and just sort of the feeling we want to get to with our world and with our, if it were a game or other piece of work. So hopefully we want to provide outlets for a sort of adventure-y, space piratey, cowboy-y feel. So we discussed sort of the factions, what they sort of, how they act, what their goals are in this world, this universe, this galaxy. We have some nice locations where some of our scenes could take place, including wonders such as Space Vegas. There's casinos and stuff. We have like a fancy ship, a ship name. We have some planets, some more locations, and we have some key characters that would be involved in this world that maybe some of our own characters would interact with. It was a good time making this one. This one was just a sort of fun, messing around, sort of wild world, wild west vibes. Did you want to go over any of the material that you wanted to go over? There was
Characters.
Oh, there's characters. Okay.
So I guess we can do the activity now?
All right. Is that what you want to do? Cool. Okay. So take it away, Jen.
Yeah. So now we're gonna design a world just like as seen in the Zorcat document and the Space Pirates document. So we're gonna all do this together and collaborate to make a really cool world.
Do you want to explain what we're going to be doing there, or do you want to keep that a surprise?
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of important to know that next time we will be meeting, which is next week, as it turns out, because of Memorial Day?
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to be using this world as a setting for kind of like a role play session with characters that you guys will then create.
Do I need to bring dice?
There's online dice rollers
we'll
if you forget.
I have a really nice set.
If you
Then
want to
bring 'em.
bring dice, I'm sure that would be fine.
Show them off, bud.
We'll be sure to give exact details in announcements and newsletter, just to make sure everyone knows logistically how we'll be handling all this.
But yeah, so keep that in mind when we're creating this world, that it's going to be kind of used as our playground in a few weeks. So there's no prompt or anything. So just what do you guys want to create? What are your kind of pillars? You know, what are some things that you're thinking about?
Gosh, I feel like my brain's like all stuck on space pirates. The first thought that came to mind was aliens. It's like, wait, no, what if I don't want to do a sci-fi type of thing again?
Pirates.
Pirates? We
Cyber
want to-
pirates.
Regular pirates.
Regular pirates?
Regular
On a
pirates.
boat.
Do we want to do regular pirates?
Is the boat in the water?
Yes.
I mean, space is overdone apparently, but
Yeah.
What if it was like a boat with like sails in space?
Hear me out, right?
Like treasure planet.
Yeah,
Hear me out,
So
right?
space pirates.
but like, yeah.
Space is overdone. You know, post-nuclear. You know, it's been overdone. What about post-apocalypse?
All
So
right.
like Horizon Zero Dawn.
wait,
I don't know.
So like society is rebuilt and apocalypse has happened.
So like, take Fallout, right,
Okay.
and progress it past the part where they've cleaned everything up, and now society is like somewhat functioning again,
Okay.
but like just
How
barely.
True to Kaisar.
But there's still like relics of like our world.
It's still mostly our world.
Okay.
But then they're picking themselves back up and putting themselves back together.
Do they know about?
And
the
then there are
catastrophe?
pirates.
And also there are pirates.
And also there are pirates.
So is
All
this
right.
like
Because
a
there's no like.
cyberpunk kind of thing?
Well,
Oh yeah, that's a good.
that's almost.
Is it cyberpunk or is it
It's
like
post-cyberpunk.
post
It's almost the
cyberpunk?
same
Isn't
as like,
cyberpunk kind of post-apocalyptic?
It depends on which cyberpunk you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because Blade Runner isn't.
Some
There is
cyberpunk
cyberpunk that is.
just late capitalism is cyberpunk. From
So-
what
Yeah,
I've seen.
honestly.
So there was like the peak of society with like a bunch of technology,
Right.
and then just like nukes, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
And
like
then
Mortal
like
Engines? Have you? No one's seen Mortal
I've
Engines.
seen
haven't,
more.
but
I
I
have
want
seen
to.
more.
Wasn't that the
Is
like
that the
giant
vibe of it?
wheel?
Yes.
I saw the
cities that
commercial
eat each
and it looked
other.
bad.
It was
I'll
okay.
have you know,
I thought it was gonna be.
passable.
I think I'll
I
And the
thought
cities
going
hate
into
each
it thinking
other.
it was gonna be terrible. It wasn't terrible.
Okay,
Yeah.
my general rule of thumb is the more a movie advertises on YouTube, the worse it is. And that is generally true, except for Hitman's Bodyguard, which is the most notable exception.
That was a good one.
I didn't expect that movie to be good at all.
Anyways, Mortal Engines, there's like an apocalypse, except they're like, oh, the American God statues, no. And then in the books, it's Mickey and Pluto, and in the movies, it's giant rusty minion statues.
The worst.
The
I feel
worst.
like certain worlds
Is it
in
allowed?
Star
Like-
Wars can be described as
Yes.
post-apocalyptic.
In Star Wars?
Star Wars, huh?
Certain
ones?
planets.
Lord of the Rings too, actually.
Okay,
They don't
Lord of the
touch on it
Rings-
in the movies, but in
Lord of the
books.
Rings is like a complex mess of history.
It
So,
really is.
so is our world going to be a complex mess of history
No.
too? Or
Chrono Trigger.
Okay, but we
Plus,
still
like,
have to decide.
any-
where are the ships?
Where are
First
the
of all.
boats?
Are the
Actually, yes,
boats-
Chrono
What
Trigger.
what if the apocalypse is global warming? Because then that means more water, which means more pirates, which means a
Ah.
water world.
Actually,
Water
no.
World.
Land of the Lustrous.
Water-
Cyberpunk Water
Land
World.
of the Lustrous.
Yes, Hoseki
Okay.
no Kuni. That is exactly that.
Really?
Except
Cyberpunk
instead of
Water
it just
World?
being global warming, it was also 6 meteor impacts.
Because
But there's only one island left on the entire planet.
Dry
It's
land.
a big island,
But
but
there's only one.
and
'Cause, like,
humanity has been wiped out, but a race of gem people over the eons have evolved into immortal humanoid things.
Steven Universe Future Age.
It is much better than Steven Universe.
Wow.
And that, I'm saying that as someone that really likes Steven Universe.
Okay, alright. There's also, okay, so, the Jonas Brothers and Pendragon, a series from middle school that I read,
what?
both
Wait,
have different takes on
There's a
this.
connection, right?
There's a connection, I promise you.
To ships and boats. And
Yes.
Cyberpunk.
Are you talking about the year 3000?
Yes, the Jonas Brothers song.
Yeah, the
Year
music video,
3000.
and everyone lived underwater.
Everyone lives underwater.
I
Or
also went to middle school.
in Pendragon, everyone lives on these like giant floating barges, which kind of take the place of islands.
Waterworld.
Waterworld.
Oh, okay, cool. I've never seen Waterworld.
Neither have I, but I went to the thing at Universal Studios, and
So
that's like
for-
Same.
good
Awesome.
enough.
So what are we going
Clarification
with?
then, the Earth is covered in water.
Not like completely covered.
Not-
like okay,
there's,
so
like,
we're at like
islands.
70, like currently,
Right,
70-ish percent.
Let's talk like 90, 95.
So
I'm
the
into
Earth
it.
Wild.
is mostly covered with water.
Yes.
People live.
Like all the mountains became like islands.
Right.
Like in Wind Waker.
So are people
Like in Waterworld.
are people living underwater or above the water on floating barges?
Underwater would also be cool, but like for the most part above water because there's like sunlight.
Okay, so
And
maybe
like you grow plants above water.
we could do both and then have like cool different little like
Or
different
yes.
biomes, you know?
Approve.
Or you could have
So
a race
there's
of
Submarine
And then the-
pirates.
The
so there are
deep dwellers.
submarine pirates.
Oh man.
or you
Maybe.
could have a race of
Maybe.
subaquatic people.
Ooh, mermaids. But
Yes,
not.
but violent.
Ooh.
That's what mermaids are.
tend to be
Yeah.
violent.
Yeah,
We're
depending on
Mermaids
the
are
not,
version.
we're not talking
really
Little
some.
Mermaid.
Yeah.
talking
That is
They're
literally my
mermaids.
only experience with
Hail
mermaids in
Cthulhu.
popular culture.
Look,
Okay, no, actually, Pirates of the Caribbean 4,
see?
which was
That was
bad.
not a good movie.
It was
We
no
know
one
not.
remembers that one.
Nobody remembers the fifth one.
Pirates of
I
the
remember the
Caribbean
fifth
is a
one.
trilogy. Changed my mind.
Yeah.
Because the fifth one, I really wanted it to be good. But that's the rant that started the last thing, so we're not going to talk about Pirates of the
For
Caribbean
another
anymore.
clarification, really quick, are the mermaids the submarine pirates, or are those two different?
I think there should be like a battle raging for control of the surface.
So let's talk
Between
history
Because, like-
for a sec.
I think we're
Okay,
getting a little
history.
ahead of ourselves.
Let's talk history.
Yeah.
Let's just get the full time span.
Yeah.
So there's us right now,
We.
and then there's like the future, like 1,000 years from now, with everything super high tech.
Okay.
And then there's like nuclear apocalypse,
Uh-huh.
and the remaining
While
humans.
global warming is also happening?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like there's this kind of like I'd say like we get to 80% water, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the time that nuclear war happens,
Okay. So we
nuclear
just
apocalypse.
screw everything up.
So we have some water tech going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of our, coast cities, like the major ones like New York and LA, are gone.
There's-
But now there's like New York and LA 2.0 that are like floating
That's
barge
on like
cities.
where Denver is now.
Okay.
So people are already used to kind of.
So there's
finding
some
alternate-
water life going
Yeah.
on.
Okay.
And then
But that's in the sky, or is that?
No, on
what
board.
if
Floating barges.
Oh, floating. Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, floating on the
Yo,
water, not in the
There's
sky.
three levels.
That's
There's submarine,
three.
there's the
Okay.
surface, and there's sky barges.
Though while we're doing this, advanced, and this has been done in other works, advanced civilizations sometimes genetically engineer themselves to give themselves special traits.
Mhm.
So is that what
So the
mermaids are?
mermaids-
Is that the mermaids?
The
That could
mermaids
be.
were like the hyper rich that saw the writing on the wall, and then they're like, we need gills,
Peace.
and then they gave themselves gills, and now that's like the underwater culture is like the ultra rich.
Or
Okay,
it
and
could
they
have
would
been
be harder to reach,
It could
right?
also
Yeah.
have been the ultra rich from a certain country or region. If it were only the Americans that decided to go underwater, that could be something.
Mm. What are we doing about mountains? Are those like the only like land cities now? Just
And
like,
they've just
the tops?
become normal cities now.
Yeah.
Also, mountains would be the only place you could farm.
And they're all like super high population,
Not
super
according to
high
Pendragon.
density.
Very
So,
contested.
If that's where
But also,
people are
like-
farming, then what is the culture like? What's the economic status like? Like what are the? Because if underwater it's the super rich.
Or at least it was. Unless they kept their technology. Would that mean the mermaids kept their technology?
Yes,
High tech
absolutely.
mermaids.
High tech
So
mermaids.
the mermaids are also the most advanced.
But
Yes.
the waters are
But
super
there are also
like
few- there's few of
radiated
them.
and polluted, so like they've changed over time.
Oh, you know what? No, they might have still lost their technology. You're right, because of radiation. Or
So
they
we
went
have-
even deeper and became subterraneans and they don't give a fuck about the rest of the world.
Caves.
Cave time. Actually, yeah. Would caves be flooded? There could be
It
cave
depends on
You
the
could
cave.
societies.
evacuate them.
It depends on the cave.
They took the mountains and then they went down.
Yeah. Okay, so they do the farming on the top. Maybe barges, because barges are like the big cities.
Or you just farm like kelp.
You can farm
you,
kelp.
But also farm barges.
Farm barges. That was the thing in the book series that I read.
Well, I mean, it's
And
a-
maybe in Waterworld. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Still haven't actually seen Waterworld.
I haven't actually
Yeah.
seen
I
the
just know the
movie.
general idea.
So we're just
Also,
all
I caught
just
the last 10 minutes and the credits
talking
were
out of
rolling.
our asses
Yes.
about Waterworld.
No,
I
we
haven't
we
seen
both
it.
did the thing at Universal Studios.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is like a 5-minute synopsis of the plot,
Also,
but with more kicking.
Man
I just
with no
put some of
facts
this
versus man with half
on
of
a
facts.
tiny little itty baby
Yes.
cockroach, and it died instantly.
Just
Well, that's
now?
because this is
Yeah.
like 90% alcohol
Yeah.
Where?
and not even
It's on the
ethanol,
chair.
like isopropyl.
That's great.
Ethanol.
Tiny, tiny itty bitty.
Okay.
Anyways.
I don't like cockroaches.
There's a lab manager in here. We can tell him about that later.
Mr. Lab Manager.
With everybody's backpacks coming in and out of this place all the time, I imagine anyone that has any in their house would track them everywhere.
Hey,
It
let's
would be
get
a
back
thing.
on topic to writing.
And not about killing cards.
So our pillars are
Or-
pirates. So it's just oceans everywhere for the pirates to have great adventures on, studying roads
Yes.
of the past.
So are
Yeah.
they studying these
Also,
relics,
there
or
are
they
like a
selling them?
bunch of Atlantises.
Yes.
Ooh.
But all of the Atlantis, like
The Atlantis would be like Los Angeles.
the
You go
Atlantises
down-
are. Los Angeles became Los Atlantis,
Yeah.
Aww.
and so it
Los
just became it became a
Angeles.
dome city with like 10-foot thick plexiglass,
But
right?
so those aren't mermaid cities. They are domed.
They're domed.
For like.
So are the
But
mermaids?
if they are mermaid
mermaids
cities, they
pirates?
don't have to be domed.
Do the mermaids have separate cities?
What if we made it so that all the rich
I thought-
people that retreated into
Also,
the
are they
ocean
mermaids?
then turned into violent mutants because of the radiation?
That's what I was thinking. So
Okay.
like, a lot of the mermaids ended up just getting like radiated, and like their minds were basically like
Over generations.
So they're.
they just
so
they
they're,
just became creatures.
They're basically creatures. They're not people anymore. They're.
There are still
mer
some.
folk.
They might still have language.
There are
but
some
they'd be-
there are some remnants
Fair.
of those.
But they're like.
I think we should stick to
really
3 different
brutal.
cultures just for a scope issue.
Yeah,
and
just
that
for
like we could
simplicity's
we
sake.
could make 10 different cultures. It wouldn't be that hard. We'd have the cave dwellers, we'd have the mermaids, we'd have the irradiated mermaids that went crazy. We could have the surface dwellers, we could have the pirates, we could have
Well, no, I was just thinking like within one of these domed cities, there would be like some remnants of mermaids. From,
Maybe they constructed the cities and then over time.
How are they in the cities if the cities are domed and they're mermaids?
Or
Well,
They could be
Fishbowl.
amphibious.
the idea.
bowl
the-
of water.
If I may, I think that like
Yeah, I think
if we're going back to our pillars of pirates, I think that underwater dome cities are really cool, but maybe do not serve our pillar of high sea adventures in the really high seas because of, oh my gosh, global warming.
Or low seas, submarine pirates.
If
yeah,
we're
I mean, if
going
it were
with
submarine pirates and submarine cities too.
then it could still fit. But are we doing?
There's also
submarine
fewer
pirates?
ropes on a submarine, fewer things to swing on.
Yeah,
And
it's
I like swinging
less
pirates.
swashbuckling. I
Yes.
feel
All right, so let's.
So I think we have 2 main cultures here. We have surface and we have underwater.
Yeah, I think that we should stick to that dynamic there.
Yeah.
I really like what we got with the mermaids that are kind of doing the
So
thing.
those are just kind of like in the water. They
Yeah.
exist,
Or
but they're
what
not
if
like the
they-
main focus.
What if they're
Yeah.
like barbarians, like pirates of pirates? Like the
Yeah.
mermaids prey on the pirates. That
The mermaids
on the
prey on
land
anything
dwellers.
that leaves the safety of like the few cities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything that goes out on its own gets taken.
Do
So
they
we're
bother the
going-
barges?
No, the barges would have to stay close, and the
Okay.
barges would have like guards.
Or what if the
Raids are becoming more
everything
common. That's
went
what
to
kicks
shit,
off the story.
The
Okay.
what if we
Well, yeah,
some sort of
robots from
defense of
eons
these
ago.
islands? Yeah, they'd be fucking old. Like Adventure Time. Did
Okay.
anybody see season 8 of Adventure Time or
I
season
have
9?
not.
No.
What about Journey to Atlantis? Like those guys?
I haven't seen
Hmm.
that.
Okay. They're like, they do this, and then there's like a shield around the city, but then I think they also shoot things.
They don't do things.
They don't shoot
Knights.
things? I'm making
But
that
also
up?
it's like tribal technology and magic also.
Yeah. Oh, in Atlantis?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are the
So I'm
robots
thinking,
Pirates.
so I'm thinking that we just go straight tech.
Straight tech time.
are the robots like the robots from that one episode of the Adventures in Stolen Century that are like the remnants of like the old civilization that like have all the intelligence but are just kind of like robots and are doing
I
their own
wouldn't
thing?
say we should give them too much intelligence. That would put them as like significant
Characters?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
These should just be obstacles.
Like sentry
So
bots?
Some things that
there's
allow-
not like it's not gonna devolve into like a battle of AI and stuff like
What
that.
if the
We
robots
wanna
are
keep
vending
it
machines
focused on-
that also dispense bullets?
Is this
Hey.
movie Aquaman?
I would like to go and revisit our pirate faction because we don't actually have too many details on our pirates of this pirate world.
Oh, yeah, huh?
We established these mermaids pretty nicely, and I've documented what we've talked about as a plot point of finding a cool ancient robot that does dangerous stuff. We can use that later, but let's try to take a look at our pirates. I'm just gonna put it over here.
So what if the main currency has to be stolen from the sunken world? So like it'd be a job for people to like go in a submarine and steal like gold from Fort Knox, which is like still dangerous, but there's not like anyone guarding it. And then the pirates are trying to get gold.
I don't think that's
And
a sustainable source of currency.
I was gonna
I
say, it
mostly
doesn't
agree with
seem
that.
like
That wouldn't
the
be currency,
primary
though.
currency.
Okay, it doesn't have to be the
It would
primary
like
currency.
A a luxury item. of
I don't
some
think it
sort.
should be currency. I think it should be something highly valuable and saleable because they're pirates.
Okay, it wouldn't be the
Consider-
currency.
Yeah.
It would aid the currency.
Yeah, consider like Fallout's bottle
Potatoes.
caps as currency. for
Bottle
instance.
caps are not self-producing in that world, though. They're not
Body
producing anymore.
pillows.
No, those would
Yeah?
get soggy.
Well,
In
that's
any
why
case-
they're so rare. Is you gotta find an unsogified Dakimakura.
Anyway, our faction, the pirates. What's their deal? They're searching for treasure, obviously. So they're diving.
First question: what's their alignment? Are we going good pirates, bad pirates? Han Solo and Jack Sparrow,
No, fuck
or
that.
like
Let's make them kind of evil.
evil pirates?
Are we cheering for the mermaids then?
No, I don't want to cheer for
I think
mermaids.
the mermaids are evil too.
So it's
The
just-
mermaids
are like beast evil.
So
They're not
we're
even.
all-
Robin
So,
Hood.
like-
Robin Hood.
We're
So-
Robin Hood.
so, like-
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Are we Robin Hood or are we like Alucard from Hellsing?
Alucard from Helsing.
More or less just killing stuff
That's very different.
and like fitting into societal structure in their own way.
All right.
I think Robin Hood pirates,
Like chaotic
which would
good.
be
Are
yeah.
the players allowed to choose, perhaps?
If they
Yeah, we
Alright.
wanna do-
we are
So
very broadly
pirates?
speaking, pirates.
pirates and city folk.
Each character can perhaps choose what type of pirate they want to be, but broadly speaking, what do our pirates want?
So is this basically just One Piece pirates then?
Well, they're not trying to be the pirate
Well,
king.
no, but there also isn't even superhuman abilities, so like it's not shown.
Where do you guys want the pirates to be from? Because you've talked about
They have-
different.
They have one mountain.
They live on their ships.
Live on their
They're
ships?
really into horticulture.
What if they're just like a neighborhood gang on one of the islands that were like, fuck this, let's go be pirates?
Let's just go. They could be a gang from one of the barges.
Ooh.
If the barges
And
are
a
like
barge
permanent
went
sentinels.
rogue.
A barge went rogue.
They're like, you know what? We're just kind of slaves to the city folk. We just make all their food, and then they give us like 2 pennies a week to survive on.
So they were kind of lower class.
Lower class.
So
So
very.
That's where they conquistadors at this point. They have an entire barge.
One barge. There's a
One
lot of
barge.
barges.
That's like a city-state.
I was thinking more like a farm.
Farms are big, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from farm, but like,
But there's not a lot of people on farm.
there aren't.
If it's a barge that's sustaining, okay, how many barges does each city-state have? Because I was figuring like.
I think one barge for like 200 people.
Yeah, I feel like because you need a lot of farmland
Really,
in
so
order
much
to
food
feed
like
a city.
New
Yeah.
York eats?
Cities
I don't know,
need a lot of
but
food.
probably a lot.
A lot of food to feed a city.
But there
Which
wouldn't
roommate?
be just one barge
Danielle.
per city.
Why?
She's really mad at Lord of the
Where
Rings.
is she from?
Here.
Oh, I'm
She's
from
Group
just
of
farm.
mad at
OC.
Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Wait. Why?
She hates Tolkien. I don't know. I don't question her. All I know is that I'm pretty sure she did her research.
So I did
Interesting.
like a barge went rogue, right? The lower class they disbanded from like a large collection of barges. This all rhymes.
They unanchored and it went.
Yeah, so they're on their own. So that makes them more vulnerable to mermaid attacks.
Yes.
Which is a weird. We should just say merpeople, which is, I mean, that's all of them, but oh, for readability, I guess it works. What do they want? Do they want like? Are they trying to get like technological weapons to defend themselves from the merpeople, the mermaids? Do they want treasure? Do they want like revenge?
They want to survive.
They want to survive.
They
Alright.
want.
Or-
They want.
or
No,
is
no.
this-
They don't want to just.
Stop.
It's easier to exploit young people because they're like faster at working.
And also, that is kind of like they're surviving, but they want to live. That, I don't know if it's true to the realities of piracy, but it's certainly true to the romanticization of piracy that we're trying to capture here.
In a little bit of a
It's
way,
true
we
to
have
the
like
Jack
a promise
Sparrow
neverland
piracy.
situation.
Exactly.
Real piracy is weird. Do you know they have like you can buy stock in piracy?
What?
Yeah,
So-
you can fund a mission and then you get a cut of the success.
There was the rebellion,
I don't like
right?
that face.
Okay.
They stole solar panels.
Ooh.
Yeah.
They disconnected their farm barge, put up their storm shields to protect from incoming fire, and just yeeted out.
All right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And this is the origin story of this pirate colony.
Okay.
I think the
If
city
there's-
folks shouldn't
if
know where the
there's a
barge is.
variation of ageism, it's kind of like the Promised Neverland, where you have potentially a group of older, intelligent, very smart individuals taking people everywhere from like 5 to like 20 that were being exploited on this farm, stealing it and just floating away.
Yeah.
Did
Is
they
it
also
still
steal a
Robin Hood?
submarine?
Is it still what?
Is it still Robin Hood?
Are we still wrong?
Well, see, what I was thinking, the barge would be like the home base, and like you come back to that after missions.
Yeah,
And
but
then like you have
smaller,
like you have
like,
smaller
scout
boats.
You
Because
have
a
to
barge
fend
is
off mermaids.
big. Think like an oil platform.
Yeah.
And then you have like baby boats.
And you can do like hit and run raids on like
I
mountain
would say
tops
that like
or
each
other
individual
barges.
barge is capable of sending out like smaller boats and like a small.
Like the barges can move, but
Yeah.
by and large they stay in one place.
Yeah.
Is the barge the size of UCI or like
No.
Aldrich Park?
Aldrich Park.
I don't know how big an oil platform is, but I was thinking that.
I was thinking pretty big, yeah.
Well, you're from farm.
Yeah,
How big is farm?
very. I worked on like 200 acres of walnut orchard over summer.
Okay.
And it sucks to walk across.
Okay, so this is a 200-acre thing, so not even UCI, bigger than UCI.
No, UCI is like 13,000 acres.
Ring Road is 1 mile.
You're also big in acres. Like an acre isn't that much.
I thought, is it like, what, 400
An
feet?
acre is the amount of land one team of oxen can
What's the
plow
name
in
of
a
their
day.
barge?
Barge Town.
Barge.
Bargy McBarge face.
If
Don't
this was
barge
a
in,
bunch
Mom.
of
I'm doing homework. That's our
youths
name.
TM, then it could have a stupid name.
Freelandia.
Sealandia is an actual name for an independent barge. It is a real country, kind of, not really.
Oh, Sealand, yeah.
Sealandia.
Barge.
Yeah? I thought it was just Sealand. Unless they're both countries.
Apparently, it is Sealand. Sealandgov.org. They don't even get a
Big
.gov address.
barge. I like big barge.
Big
So
barge.
these kids that left on their barge now realize they don't have everything they need to survive, but they could potentially barter for things by exploiting the natural capital that is
And they have-
hundreds of meters below them on the
And they
ocean
have
floor
literally
and
one
selling it.
submarine, and they go down and steal ancient tech to have more weapons, to defend themselves, and also to take more things.
And what if, like, as they go down from the submarine, okay, so they use the submarine to get down, then they're tethered to it for, say, oxygen, life support, etc., and they have to explore, like,
Well,
in some sort of
Even
suit.
modern submarines are able. The only thing keeping modern submarines from being able to stay underwater at all times is just food.
Just food.
Just food.
Like
not
they're
air.
able to deal
No.
with water.
You can
they're able to deal with
recycle it.
oxygen.
Well, you can. It's just expensive. But like,
Yeah,
so
but I'm
that's
saying
process.
this gives us a point of tension because these people are going out in like pressure-resistant suits.
Yeah, don't
and
do that.
searching manually, which
Pressurized
makes
suits
them
is
vulnerable
bad.
to whatever is on the bottom of the ocean after this nuclear radiation.
Are you saying
And
they're,
if they've got
they're
like a
connected
tube
to
or
the,
something, the mermaids can like cut
did you see that
tech.
Mythbusters episode
Yeah,
where they cut the
pretty
tube and the
cool.
guy went into the helmet?
Ah!
It was nasty.
See?
So don't cut
Point
the-
of tension.
I think the suits need to be independent, but that's like a minor detail.
Depends on how high tech they're going, I guess. Like how much technology we retain. Also, is this in keeping with the like
What?
high seas thing that we're
What?
looking for?
Although you can have high tech high seas. Think Bioshock Infinite.
Well, the
high tech
submarine
high seas.
part, the like going down.
We've literally had we've had submarines since the
Or
Revolutionary War.
these could
so
be
like they're
like-
not insanely high tech.
Currently, these are not quite pirates. They're more of archaeologists because they kind of just go down and explore.
Because the
Which
gold
is
doesn't belong to
cool.
anyone.
slash looters.
But yeah, but
Tumor.
like.
Wait, do the
if
pirates
they're
do this?
pirates-
This is just one aspect.
If they're pirates, then part of that is like piracy.
I thought the
you know,
pirates were
boarding
stealing the
other
gold
people's
that's like
ships
already
and
gone.
stealing their things.
Like
Which is
somebody's
why
got to
they
go down and
shouldn't
get the gold,
necessarily
but like
be,
that's
like,
technology the pirates
good.
don't have.
right.
people.
So yeah,
So, like-
they could
Well, as long
still
as
be
the
like,
pirates
oh,
have
we'll
at
take
least
over.
one submarine, then they're able to take weapons, ancient weapons.
So do you guys think that they?
I think pirates would be doing hit and runs on like cities.
Well, okay, they're-
more
That's
than
their
like
primary
Robin-
focus.
They're Robin Hood in the sense that they took a bunch of people, even of very young ages that are being exploited on this farm, and they're taking care of them. Not necessarily in that they're giving to the poor on other
I don't
islands.
remember Robin Hood like that.
I don't think Robin Hood did that.
Yeah. I don't
Well, I mean, we have a crew of people, and yeah,
But I
that's
mean,
why I'm
Rob-
saying we can't really be both Robin Hood and independent pirates in this world where we're just kind of not in any way able to survive on our own.
Well, they have the barge, which has all the food they need. Because barges were the farms for the cities. Cities were so densely packed on the few like remaining spits of land that like there was no room for farmland.
But you have food, but you don't have anything else. That's why they have to get this stuff on the bottom of the ocean.
But that's why they do hit and runs on cities. They like
Okay,
sneak
but
in
then they're
at
not
night.
good people anymore.
But it depends on who they rob.
Didn't you say you wanted to be evil?
Yes, that's why I'm contesting the point that they're robbing. We don't necessarily have people that are taking their own little skipper with millions of dollars in the back from one city to another that's like thousands of miles away on the ocean.
Really quick, guys, I just want to make sure that we have time to finish this document. So I'd say that I want to make sure that we're all on the same page with this project. So for the activity, I would recommend referring to the notes that I've been trying to take here. Some of them are a little less concentrated. I do want to come up with at least 1 or 2 characters for our characters to interact with, and then I'd like to maybe go into talking more about characters in general. But first off, let's give us a nice big title. It's not called Title. What's a good flashy name for submarine, swashbuckling, weird aquatic pirates fighting mermaids, stealing weapons?
Submarine swashbuckling, whatever the fuck it is you just said.
Submarines.
Yeah.
Submarine.
Pirates.
The large barge trademark.
Notorious barge.
Large.
Notorious B-A-R-G.
I don't think that really rolls off the tongue.
Large barge rolls off the tongue very well.
I meant the whole thing.
Oh no, that's not long enough.
Wordy.
Maybe they're all illiterate and they spelled barge B.
Yeah. Look,
Okay, not like farmer.
we're not
farmer,
in
like
post-apocalyptic
the equivalent.
here.
We're talking like a medieval surf?
Yeah.
Yo,
Kinda.
surf's up, but spelled with. That's the title. You almost did.
Surfs up.
I have to go.
It's like a period could quantify how much you hate me right now.
Your disapproval has been noted, Riley.
Let's make a main character named Hannibal.
Hannibal?
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh, I thought
What
you
does he
said
do?
Havoc. I like Havoc.
Havocable.
Nope.
No.
Wait, sea pirates as opposed to the other kinds of pirates?
Yeah, space pirates.
Oh.
I see.
Also, just me. Like, I pirate lots of things.
Yeah, so you'd be a different pirate. You're cyber pirate.
Yeah. Yo, that sounds so much more badass than a
does
person who
sound-
just doesn't want to pay for Netflix.
Alright, let's get like one character together. Do you want to make like a really, like, do you want to make like a mermaid character? Do you want to make like a pirate captain or?
Pirate captain.
I feel like the leader of our barge
Captain
would be
Havoc.
good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
also
no.
it kind of determines the group dynamic because we know that there were at least a few individuals that would have been the ember for this movement that became a
Captain
departure
Havoc.
of an entire barge.
Had it.
Yeah.
We like a big barge.
What?
Just
Big barge
straight
is
up
the name of the
Havoc.
place. You want to say large barge as the title. So what's their name? Who are they? What do they do? What's their defining characteristic to be?
In order to be a proper pirate, you have to have a color in your name, preferably red or black.
Red or black?
Also,
Black Havoc.
This kind of reeks.
Why Havoc?
Red and black?
Because I'm stuck on it.
What about Mayhem, the dude from the Allstate commercials?
This does also
Black
kind of
red.
reek of the kind
Black
of
red.
where somebody is like
Black
stealing books to learn and eventually learns enough to realize that they're being fucked over.
Okay, so black red is.
I'm just saying that is
A
like a character
librarian?
trait. This person can be.
What was that sound? Those weren't words. That's if you trained a mousetrap to speak.
But if Black Red is librarian and this is post-apocalypse, what are the books? Are they paper?
They can't be paper,
Can't
they'd
be.
get wet.
So what
Kindles.
were the books of the post-apocalypse, or what were the books of the pre-apocalypse?
I don't see why not both.
Gen 8 Kindle Paperwhite, which is finally waterproof.
Waterproof.
Literally a generation after I bought mine.
Electronic.
So they still have the
Well,
electronic.
Actually,
But, like,
we are heading
the-
towards foldable screens. We can have those.
Do we have
We have those now.
do we have
actually.
holograms? Can we just have like a button that you push and it's like a hologram and then there's like a next button and you can go through the
Well,
book?
see, the more technology you get, the more likely it is that everyone can read. Because you got to be able to read to use the
Well, I'm
technology.
pretty sure this character can read, considering that they're a librarian.
Maybe
Well,
in
not
the
even necessarily a librarian, but a kid that steals books.
I don't think we should have a
So
kid be the
hoarder?
leader of the face. The
Well, they're all kind
they
of kids
were
to
a
an
kid,
extent.
How
but then they
old?
grew up.
That's what most people are.
They were a kid that stole book. Maybe they docked on a city.
What if they're a kid and they don't want anyone to know that? They just say they're a dwarf.
This kind of scheme screams like
It's just too cute
16-year-old.
No, we can't
The
have
bottom
our...
one's black and the
Yeah.
top one's red.
Black
Wait!
is the bottom kid on the trench coat, red is the
What if it switches and they hope no one notices? Hi, my name's Red
The
Black.
only
I thought your name was
age
Black
group
Red.
angsty enough to actually run away from home at this scale would be like 16 or 17-year-olds.
Okay, so our group. This is heading towards Lord of the Flies, though.
Do you want
Kinda.
black and red to be like they just look similar and they switch based on the day, or do you want them to be
Twins.
on top of each other in a trench coat? Because there are dynamics that we can do with you don't know which captain it is each day, but it's one of the two.
Or it's a
Some-
Pirate Roberts thing.
but they're both alive, so that
That's
does
true.
complicate things.
And also, their crew stays the same, so you can't.
That's
pull anyone.
true.
They'd have to be twins, I'd imagine.
Well, I think that like as a librarian, like they don't have to tell the crew everything. Like maybe they say we're on a mission to steal weapons, and then they like tell everyone. But actually, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to go with my first mate, who is definitely not my twin, and we're going to go salvage some other weapons here, and then they actually steal books.
So does Black Red have some like information sharing issues?
Yeah,
Would that
'cause
be
why,
like a
why
point
would
of
she
conflict?
be acting secretive to the people that she left?
We can't have a second
Behind them.
rebellion from the rebellion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you just like join the original thing.
But if the captain is literate because the captain is a librarian, and if the crew is illiterate because farm.
Why is the
Well,
captain
no,
a
what's
librarian?
with all the
nobody's.
farmer
I don't
racism?
think
Well,
anybody's.
no,
a librarian.
We're gonna get this
I'm
marketed.
quoting you guys. That was what you guys were saying. So if the crew is not very literate, but the captain is, then maybe that's where the like kind of information gap comes from, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a source of conflict. It could just be why.
Is this Book of Isaiah now?
So
I have
she has trust issues,
idea.
or he
What's
has
the
trust
idea?
issues.
So, there might not be librarians on farm. However, what if person from farm, when dock on city, get book and is like, oh, I see, and then they keep on stealing books. Pirate time.
Pirate time.
Pirate time, and then eventually they get more book, more knowledge, and they're like, oh no, we are being screwed over, and that's why. So it's kind of a like, they are like the only literate person because of book piracy.
But also a person
Okay.
that's like, no, everyone should be literate.
I think though
Uh-huh.
that kind of takes because that basically is saying
Literacy is
what if
intentionally kept down.
what if they keep stealing books after they become pirates?
So the pirates
And
are the
my
more
problem
literate
with
ones
that
because
is
Black
kind of
Red wants
that
freedom of
It
information.
takes away
Yeah.
that as part of their impetus for
So all the pirates
leaving,
can actually
and it takes
read.
away
But they keep that secret.
their
So to
reason
be
for stealing books. in
clear-
the
Well, they don't
first
care.
place,
If all the
'cause
pirates can
The
read, then it's the
pirates-
people that are on land.
Well,
that
then they
can't.
keep it secret from the land people.
So the pirate activity is stealing books.
Yeah, but they
I
steal
kinda
gold
disagree
to
with
hide
that,
what
though.
they're doing. They break
Because,
into a
like-
house, they steal all the books, but they're like, nobody's gonna be like, oh, I got a book stolen to the police. They'd be like, oh, all my gold's gone. And the pirates just use the gold to fund their book
But
stealing.
why is she stealing books and keeping it from their comrades?
No, she's not keeping it from the comrades. They're keeping it
keeping it secret from other.
They're keeping it secret from like the city folk because they don't want the city folk knowing that they're becoming too knowledgeable and powerful.
Yeah.
If they're pirates, there aren't any city folk to know them. They'd just be coming into town, and they could buy books if they wanted to, or they could just like read them. You know, they don't necessarily have to be obviously outlaws just because they walked into a city.
Wait, I thought the idea was that like on these land cities that the political leaders are the ones that have books and none of the other people have books.
Yeah.
So everyone else is dumb. So,
So
you
that's
can't
why you
just
have
buy
to
books.
steal
Okay, so it's not that
Okay.
there are books
So
publicly
they are
available if you're not a
stealing
serf.
from the
It's that
rich.
only
Yes.
the lords have
They're
books.
stealing
To
from
give
the
to
rich.
poor,
Okay.
in the sense of stealing books from the rich to educate the poor.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
That's pretty cool.
we got it. We got it. We
But
have
they
our
still
goal.
An
Do
actually
they still
cool,
have to
an
go in
actually
their
cool story
submarines
came
to
out of
get
me just saying
technology?
pirates.
Is that still a thing?
It helps them to do their raids that
Right.
they're building up.
Right, they still need their.
But also, I think it'd
businesses.
be cool if they stole gold to hide the fact that they were stealing knowledge.
Just steal a bunch of things.
Yeah, no, I
They
think they
just
should be
steal
stealing all
everything, and
kinds
books
of
are like
stuff.
the main thing.
Yeah.
Steal one shoe.
That'll throw them off.
Chaotic evil.
Again, back
Steal
to the
family
character
photographs.
though. So
Oh yeah, we don't have
Oh
characters.
yeah, black red.
twins
Twins.
Black Red.
But
Do we
why?
still have a reason for twins?
For fun.
They
Um,
interchange. Like you never know which one it is. Does the crew know that there are two of them?
The crew does.
I think
Wait.
it's more fun if they don't.
Oh yeah.
How would the crew not? They
Why
farmed with
does
them
this
their entire
character
lives.
Why do we have twins?
I made a joke about two kids in a trench coat,
And then again,
and then we went off.
How
we just
old
went
are
there.
the twins?
no, the original joke I made was that they were a kid pretending to be older so that like people would take them seriously. I was thinking like 12,
Oh, are we talking
but
about
they just
Tanya
say they're a
DeGroote now?
12.
I feel like the Black Red should probably be one of the older people, like seriously
Yeah.
speaking.
Make more sense.
Just
I
because
would agree.
I think a 12-year-old would probably not be a very good leader, no matter what Hunger
Yeah.
Games would have me believe.
Who led at 12 in Hunger Games? Wasn't she like 17?
Pim.
That was
No,
that was
Pim
a
was
lie,
12.
but
Who?
yeah, Prim was 12.
Yeah, but she didn't do anything.
She was like the head. She was like a medic.
Yeah.
Why the fuck was she a major medic in that civilization?
Because she was the main character's little sister.
Also, like,
Also
all
give
of
her a
the,
reason to
all
die,
of the
but, like-
oldest characters in the Promised Neverland are 12.
Okay, so how old?
How
We need
old?
a
16.
definitive age.
16.
I would say 16,
Wait.
yeah.
Single
Dramatic
character
running
or
away
twins?
from home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is our
Yes.
story
What?
taking place like shortly after the rebellion, or is it taking place like
Months.
I think it should start
decades
I
after,
think-
where like they've built up
Months.
like this pirate
Months.
city?
No, I think the beginning.
Apparently.
I think the beginning is an interesting situation. to show.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think it should
like
Can it be the
the
prequel?
War of
Huh?
Secession.
Can it be the prequel?
I think it's a good origin. Like having
So
them
like our
break
story
away would be a
starts
good way to
when
start
the
out.
barge sails.
Well, you see, that's going to be up to the DM of this exchange. So you'll have to find out, and we'll give more details as we go.
So we don't get to know when the story starts.
Not yet.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
just built an entire world and an entire history, and this can take place at any point in the history.
I think that it'd be reasonable to say probably after the history that we've established, because that's
It's
what-
not in the past.
Yeah.
All right,
The
here's
present is not in the
here's
past.
what you have to build towards. You have to
So-
play towards this.
But so the
not a bad
character,
idea.
The
Ooh, weird way to
captain.
run.
The
Story.
captain at the point of secession, 16, 17.
Okay.
YA
Twins
protagonist
or
age.
single character?
Twins was a weird idea.
Yeah,
I don't think it
single
necessarily
character.
twins.
Single character.
Single character.
Okay. Black Red is
Named
just one
Black
person.
Red.
Is that
Pirate-
we're seriously
What if
going
we
with
name-
Black Red as a
What
name?
if we name the pirate ship as Black Red?
Black Red?
What if
was
we
a
name the
joke
pirate
by
ship as Black
Riley.
Red?
What if the pirate ship is named Black? What if the character's name is Black? What if everybody's name is Black?
Our names.
But Ocean,
everyone's-
so there has to be like blue. Why isn't his name Blue Green?
Because
Let's-
you said
Black
that
blue.
they needed to
No,
be
blue
colours
green is
of-
the
No,
first
let's
mate.
name him Red Green and give it shader error magenta.
Out of here with your strange computer speak.
And then all they ever say is just, I don't know what
No, it's
sound
just
an error
stats.
makes.
So Black Red was why is this character's name Black Red? Were they named by like one of the younger kids? Was like, hey, you need colors in your name.
You need to.
If they were named by one of the younger kids, their name is Unicorn. Like, I know younger kids. That's just how they operate.
Have you seen Captain Marvel? Did you
No.
see the kid's fashion sense when she was picking out the suit colors?
Well, she was special. She was good at it.
What if they're named after the musical Les Mis?
Oh my gosh.
Their name is just Les Mis.
Because books.
But
Okay.
it's not really
But
a
it's
book because
kind
it's a musical.
Jacques
version.
Black.
Oh
What if-
yeah.
No!
Jacques
That
Black.
song isn't in the book.
Which could be the books that we speak of.
What if they were all
Black.
unnamed because they were
Please.
basically serfs, and then once they left, they got to name themselves or
And
each
they just
other?
named themselves.
Yo, that's how it is in Game of Thrones. When
Maybe- maybe not
when the Unsullied are freed,
I
they're
think
like,
it would be. I think
they
it
just
would be
choose
cool
the
to have
name.
them all be named.
A lot of them
pop
choose their
culture
name as the
references.
last slave name they had.
I think it would be cool to have them all be named like pop culture references from discovered books, etc.
But like
The Miz is
grossly misinterpreted pop culture references.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Like in Doctor Who, when they're like, this was an iPod and it was a jukebox and it played Britney Spears' Toxic.
Yeah.
It's the only reason I know that song. Yeah. I'm not
That's
a
the only
pop
reason you
culture
know the
person.
song by Britney Spears.
Is because of Doctor Who.
Has anybody seen the Abomination from Dark Souls 2?
No.
What
an
if it's
aquatic
just a dude
monster.
with flippers and a snorkel? And that's the
Not very
mermaid.
There's a
menacing.
single mermaid. and a single-
But he's really fast, so it looks like he's in two places at
I think
once.
that the mermaids that we've established are meant to be like the sort of threat that we are expected to potentially encounter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the mermaids from Aquaman that just kind of like show up as like generic bosses.
Oh yeah,
So-
those guys.
So,
Oh no,
for-
they're like the primal ones
Yeah.
from Aquaman.
Spooky boys.
Spooky boys.
so for next week,
Alright, what about
we need
That'd be
you
like-
guys. So for next week, you guys need characters so that we can actually play in this world. So we're gonna just really quickly show off a few kind of character documents, kind of different ways to do it. But also it's another thing where it's kind of like everybody does it differently, so just whatever works for you. So first we have Megan's. Did you want to talk about how you organized it? Or?
I can talk about how I organized it. So, this is from Hotel Red, which is a game I'm working on currently, and I'm co-writers with Duncan. So, like Riley's Sword Cat, this is not my IP. So, I'm not very organized, but I like just bullet points of the important things. A lot of this was me taking notes while I talked her over with Duncan and kind of like developed her. So it's basically just like information about Ravia, our main character. A little bit of like, I've got backstory. I've got like her general arc that we want her to follow, which is probably not good for a roleplay character because you need to be ready for outside input. So ignore that part for our purposes right now. But yeah, just like backstory, things that would inform her character and her actions, and then like a couple like character traits and motivations or flaws. And that's what I did. Very loosey-goosey, but hits the important points.
So in contrast, mine is a little bit different. But basically I like to know every little minute detail about my characters to the point where it's totally overkill and I get stressed about not being able to put all this information into the story. It's also normally more aesthetically pleasing than this, but Google Docs or whatever messes up Word documents and doesn't have the right fonts and colors and backgrounds. It's fine. But yeah, so I just have all of these different categories with subcategories, and this is my basic template for it. I have space at the top for a picture, and just everything you could possibly want.
For me personally, you might have seen a little bit here and there for Sword Cat. I don't actually jump that far. Hey, look, it's Sword Cat. I don't usually jump that far into the details. I kind of just stay at that like brief description. I try to focus a lot more on like how I think they would act, what they would be doing, maybe what their interactions are with other characters. That's usually a good one for me, by preference. So I like to think of like, well, what are some interactions that I could have between these characters, or what would I expect this character to do? How would they act? So those are things that I'm concerned with, and I kind of leave it kind of brief and then just build up from there. So yeah, for the purposes of next week, or next week.
I think, yeah, whether for writing for games or writing prose or designing a character for roleplay like we're going to be doing next week, regardless, I think one of the most important things is knowing things like character motivation, because that really helps to know how your character would react in any given situation. Because if something isn't in line with their goals or their values, then they're not going to support it, like that kind of stuff. So I think for next week, like that's probably a big one to keep in mind when you're designing your character. Which, if you guys want to get started on that before next week's meeting, that would probably help to kind of make things go a little faster when we're getting started, rather than having to do that at the beginning of the meeting. So yeah, I think you just kind of need to know the basics of your characters so that we can do this roleplay activity, and it's going to be taking place in the world that we just designed.
We'll be sure to put this document up afterwards as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, if there are any sort of logistical details such as bringing dice or rolling stats, I don't think we have anything like that planned, but we'll let you know if there are things like that we need to be mindful of. And yeah, hopefully this will be a really fun time to sort of get into character, tell some cool stories together, and work on some like character dialogue and stuff, maybe. Stuff like that. Yes?
I have a question.
What's your question?
are we playing our own characters or are we switching around characters? Because I
This
heard that
is something
discussed.
that could be very fun. What's your call?
Maybe we should announce it in this.
All right. Well, we might do some fun stuff like that as a surprise. So we'll see about that. We'll see. We'll see.
Is there a word for next week?
Huh?
Is that like a word?
In 2 weeks?
In a
Tomorrow.
fortnight.
But like, is there an actual word?
That's a fortnight.
No,
It's 2 weeks.
I know,
I swear to
I
God.
know, I know that a fortnight is 2 weeks. But is there a word for next?
Day after tomorrow, but for the next week.
All right. Thank
Not
you
in
very much for
English.
joining us for
The
this
week after
writing
next
workshop.
week.
Is there
tomorrow.
Not in English.
Hypothetically speaking, your characters should probably be on the crew.
Stay tuned for any announcements, logistical corrections, or clarifications moving forward. Thank you so much for coming to this week's workshop, and we look forward to seeing you in a fortnight. Thank you all for coming today.